Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Game Cave Development. I'm Rob D. Joining me is Brandon Let Heavy James. Brandon, say hello.
Hello.
So let's just go through. We're on Rev 3 of the Jolly Dagger. Give you all a brief history again. This was my initial silhouette of the Jolly Dagger, Jolly Daggers, the airship that Bombcat owns and operates in Game Cave, in the Game Cave series. So this was my initial pencil sketch over that silhouette, right, drawn digitally, and then just rendered really quickly in Photoshop. Concept art. And then Brandon built the Rev 1. This was my notes. You can see how it sticks all the way out here. You can lovely wings,
I
colors,
forget how bad it looked, how off it was in the beginning,
right?
in just such a short time.
Right. So this was also some initial idea notes on the reverse side of the ship. We had this. These videos are in the YouTube channel under Game Cave Development Jolly Dagger 3D Model Rev 1. Then we had the Rev 2. This was Rev 2, which was better. Wings were insanely huge. Little snub in the back. You can see. And we went over all this in the Rev 2 YouTube video. And I gave him some notes about extending out the back end, maybe how these back engines, these little fins might work back here, give it a bit more of a Star Cruiser kind of feel. And then, let's see, this is the current model, right? The Rev 3?
Correct.
Yeah, this is the Rev 3. Let's see what we got here. Look at that. We got the wings back here. We got some little geared doohickeys and shit.
Got the tail lights, the
Little
engine.
ventilation thing going in the engine. Alright, the wings have been fixed better. Oh, they're crimped. Is that you trying to bend that somehow?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
weird.
it's.
Why don't they just bend? Curve.
I think when I built the cutouts the way I did and started doing the sharpening angles of them, that something. I
Well,
don't
for
know.
drawover purposes, it'll be fine. Eventually, you're going to be rebuilding this.
Right.
Don't
No.
make that mistake.
It's kind of
Um,
like when I first did that first house. It's like it wasn't built very nice, but
that door
you know.
doesn't need to be there. Oh, look at that. You cut it out on both sides. Nah, whatever. There'll be a door on both sides. Fuck, in case they have to dock on different ports. So, you build a person to scale?
Yeah, I just deleted it when I sent it to you
Why do you
because
keep deleting the person? I told you
I
put them on a
think.
layer. You don't listen to me, right?
Well, huh?
Correct. I
Huh?
told you one time we talked. If you go watch the on the YouTube channel, that's Game Cave Development Jolly Dagger 3D Model Rift 2. You will hear me say, put the figure on a layer so I can hide them on and
I,
off.
I think if you just hit uh, Control Z and you go back, it might pop up.
Why?
Well, that was the last thing I did before I sent it to you was deleted the.
It's not going to memorize your undos on my computer, dude. It's stored in your computer's temp memory. It
Did
doesn't
not know that.
transfer undos across computers. Yeah, undos don't go across computers.
Huh.
So, and you didn't set up a camera, did you?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that yet. That was I tried setting up a camera. And I didn't know how to do it, and I was gonna probably YouTube
Create
videos
camera. Watch
sometime.
this. Create camera.
Right?
Right. Now, view. Right. Select
Yeah.
camera. Right. So let's see. Or in the perspective window, we can. Where's the fucking? We gotta link it to the camera. View camera. Where is it? The camera was made somewhere around here. Oh, there it is. So we'll just. Look, I haven't done this in 10 years, folks. All right, but I'm pretty certain. I will. What was it? Grabbing the pivot point? Is that the move tool?
Yeah.
No. There. Why is it? Oh, it's anchored for some reason.
Right.
Okay.
See, I did that. I just didn't know where to do up after that. I didn't know how to. If you're supposed to make a bunch of them, or
camera controls, camera shape, camera. Do, 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 do. Should be a little camera. Window. Create. Edit. It's supposed to be, usually be right in here. You just pick the fucking camera. How come we can't just pick the fucking camera? See, you're just supposed to be able to fucking select the damn camera. Single perspective. Command line. Relevant. Perspective, camera 1. There. Now I'm actually looking. See how it says camera 1 now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you learning or are you not paying attention?
I'm
What did I
watching.
do? What did I do? What did I do, Brandon?
I'd rather just rewatch
See, you
it.
dozed off, right? Now this is what's
No,
going to
I'm
mess you
watching.
up when you
I'm
get to
watching
work.
you. I'm watching you
So
go
I
through the
created a
options.
camera, and all I did was go to panels and set. So perspective mode is set to camera 1. You see
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So that links camera into perspective. It changed from the last time I used Maya, which was like version 2007. All right, so just bear with me. Then I can come here into the camera controls, right?
Okay.
And I can change angle of view, focal length, right? Oh, this is the camera. You must have made a camera at some point, right?
Uh,
Yeah, you
I
probably made
did,
a
but then I
camera.
deleted it.
Yeah. That is the camera. So that's camera 1. This camera 2. So I'll go back to camera 1. Film gate, like I said, 35 millimeter. 75 millimeter projection is 235. And I'll mess with this later. It's for me. You don't have to worry about it. So, nice. And now we're actually looking through a camera. And then if I click this and go back to regular perspective, and this is modeling view. It has a different, you know, thing
Mm-hmm.
between modeling view and cameras. And so then you can always link the camera to a layer and hide layers and shit. So I will deal with this later. There's 2 cameras.
But the ship is pretty. Yay!
Yeah, but you gotta pay attention, man. So this was moved forward. No ports. No ports. Pretty bad.
I could
You're
have
just
them.
trying to skim by at the very end, aren't you?
No, I just,
Just
I
hoping
was
that the little things like that don't matter because you did a lot
so focused with
on
all the
adding
stuff
the
like
stuff back
around
here.
the, well, no, like the fan grids and those things around it, those things that stick out. And I honestly just forgot about the circles on the side of the port.
Because you didn't write them down. If you had written them down, you wouldn't have to remember, right?
No, I was looking at
If you
my
had a
last
little
stream.
list, if you had a list written down, you would have a list and you check it out. Brent, I'm trying to teach you how to be successful in this field,
I know.
correct? I'm not writing your ass because I'm being an asshole, right?
Right.
Right. So don't argue with me, right?
Right.
You didn't write it down, correct?
Correct.
You don't have a checklist, correct?
Correct.
So when we go over notes and I give you things to do and I say change this, change that, you type in your Evernote, right? The thing to
Right.
do and you make a little checkbox. Don't write it down on a book that you can lose the paper, right? So
Right.
from now on when I give you notes, I want to hear the clicking of little keyboard keys while you're typing them into your Evernote. And you can add a little check bar so you'll know when you check it off. Right?
Correct.
That's what you're going to do from now on until you learn how to do it without needing it. You've come this far because you've listened, so listen to me further. You know, are these really hard things to do?
No.
You want to know why it doesn't seem like a big deal, right? Because there isn't some grand paycheck with this, right? But
Right.
Up until about 3 weeks ago, you never even considered you could might make a living doing something like this, right?
Correct.
So just pay attention, dude. You know, uh, I like to leave. I put it this way: it's the Kelly Bundy's problem. There's an old episode of Married Children that she learns how to. Kelly Bundy was a character on Married Children who was considered to be incredibly stupid. So she had to graduate high school or pass some test or whatever. She's going to get in trouble. So her brother Bud decided to teach her stuff. And first he taught her a bunch of stupid shit, and he got in trouble, and the dad was going to beat the crap out of him and actually fucking teach him. So he taught her really smart stuff. She actually learned everything, except except she didn't like know what the doorbell was anymore, and she would walk into stuff. And Bud described it that there's a cup, and there's only so much water the cup can hold. So when you pour more water into a cup, the old water pours out. So what I try to say is I like to leave my cup filled with creative ideas, and things to do, and notes from the director or whomever, the client, get put into a checklist that I don't have to think about, right? And so when I write down what they do, when I get done, I just read the list back off, and they say okay, and then I know we're okay, and I don't have to think about it. I can walk away, I can go on vacation, come back, look at that list, and know exactly what I have to do, and they signed off on it. Correct?
Correct.
Does that sound more appealing to you than trying to remember everything I've said and hoping you don't get yelled at? Doesn't
Correct.
it just seem like something more assuring? But most people don't when they're being talked to, artists don't want to write something down or type something down, right?
Right.
They don't. They think they're going to memorize it. No, I got it. You will not memorize it. You won't, dude. Because your mind is geared on solving the problem. My mind is geared on making sure this fits the vision. And your brain can't do left and right brain things at the same time, man. It's just not going to happen. One's a creative and one's a critical. You know? You're thinking creatively, and I'm critically thinking, okay, this needs to be checked off, this needs to be checked off. You're still stuck on the first thing, or the second thing, trying to figure out how to model a fin, or apply this and stick that shape there. You know?
Uh,
Then your brain will just omit the things that aren't as important because our brains tend to coordinate things by what hierarchy, right?
right.
Little porthole windows don't seem too important to you. You'll come to find out that as really cool as this stuff and as necessary as this stuff actually is to the model, and these portholes aren't actually necessary to the model, that a client will actually give more about this than that. They figure this is a given. Of course you know how to do that, or that should be done. Duh. But how'd you miss this? That's so important. You know how many times I've heard that?
Right.
So I'm just trying to give you this bit of advice, dude. You know? And it's advice for everyone watching. That you can do pretty good work, dude. You know? And the whole experience could be like, well, I did good work, but I got my ass handed to me because I forgot two fucking things I didn't type down. You know? That's weird. Then you
Right.
can go, this industry sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It's just I could have avoided that trouble if I just written something down. Right?
Correct.
And you could have asked me on the phone earlier, hey, I didn't get those portholes done. I know I got to do them. Does it matter? Nah, no big deal. Do you see how that works?
Right.
Because maybe you're exhausted. Maybe all this took a lot out of you, and it's kind of annoying to you. And then I'll say, hey, could you just get it done? You know what I mean? And let me know when it's done, and don't take till tomorrow. And you'll know it matters. Or I'll be like, because I probably would have been like, who cares? But what bothers me is that you forgot, and there's no reason for you to like ever have to like log this in your memory. You know?
Uh,
That's what I find more annoying because you want to know something? As these You've seen, and if anyone's followed, Brandon's been doing a series of more complicated models, from the crepes to the game cave store to the game cave exterior to this right here, curved surfaces, right? You're
yeah.
gonna get into capital ships, dogfighters next. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You're gonna get into like when you do eventually, probably with volume two, you'll make another version of this that's fully. I want it fully linked up so this can rotate. You know, the cockpit will be so we'll have a camera inside this thing.
Hmm.
We'll have it so this can actually animate. The fins can fold down. You know, we're gonna build one that we can actually animate for the YouTube and shit. You know what I mean? Create
Right.
little animations and stuff. So these things are gonna get far more complex, and I just don't see how you're gonna be able to retain any of it in memory. I just don't. You'll remember kind of the first two things, and that's it. And be honest, that's all I would remember. So it's not like I'm shitting on you, you know? It's just realistic. And I hate fearing, did I forget something? Am I going to get in trouble? You know, because I didn't remember something. What was that thing he said or she said, you know?
Right.
Shading. This is how all the art students make their stuff look more complicated than it really is. They put the wireframe on shaded mode on. So when you take screen caps, you go, look at that. You see why I draw wireframes on my characters, though,
Right.
when I'm doing construction? So you see when you were just throwing random wireframes, how ridiculous that was?
Yeah.
So, Brandon, tell me what you've learned from this process.
Patience. No.
Patience. Got to fall in
uh,
love with the details, right?
yeah. Just get get the idea down, and then send it to the person that you're making it for, and then let them decide what needs to be tweaked and what needs to be moved. And as I move forward, I learned that I don't need to spend unnecessary time trying to tweak the most minute things, that like these things that go over the right where your mouse is at right now, those things, the back part of it, I took way too long and they were flimsy looking. So I just went back and took some flatness and bent them and curved them like I don't know, like a metal fabricator would. I just took them, bent them, formed them, pinched them at the end a little bit, and now they look pretty badass compared to what I had before, which was like a piece of paper flying off the end. So, and then it's just like those things I added at the bottom. You saw them, you liked them, and then you told me to add the sort of slanted and flat nut surfaces like on Mega Man Legends. So then I went back and added that. So it's best to get down the core concept and then let someone like you, who's the art director, then take what I'm making and give me the revisions instead of me tinkering with something when I'm spending needless time on it. So I guess long answer short, time management. As I move forward, I learn to use my time better and what's important and what's not. So
If we just look at the silhouette, it's pretty good, dude. All things considered, right?
all right,
And again, it's not a perfect one-to-one because it's going to be a drawover model,
mm-hmm.
but, you know,
I might add a couple things when we're done, maybe.
this is what I always try to do, man. Whenever I get done, I take the initial concept of
Mm-hmm.
anything I do, and I start to, before I hand it to people, start to, did I get that pose right? Maybe the lips on my initial sketchy were better if it was a person, right?
Right.
And I really start to look back. Did I get so involved on something I kind of forgot the initial? Because I got to tell you, man, one of the biggest problems I came across when I first started working for, like, say Dave was my first. I mean, I've had art directors before, but that was the first time I had someone like critiquing on a daily basis how I actually drew, not me like designing a shirt or, you know what I mean, creating some janky shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was actually, say, drawing Killer Instinct characters or things that matter to me. And I found that there was always some element of the initial sketch that I was like, oh, that's fucking, you know, there's that one thing I did, and he'd be like, how come you didn't, how come that isn't there? Why did you stop, but that was it would always be, that was the best part. You're like, really? That was really the fucking best part? You think that? Still think those wings are a little long, but they look fine on the model. So, it's hard to say, when you're looking at a model compared to like a sketchy.
Right. When I look at the sketch now, I think they're too small for a fighter type ship.
Right. Well, that's the difference between a drawing and, yeah. I will say you forgot the lights on the here.
Uh, I can still add them. I mean, that won't.
Hmm. It's the best.
What? How shitty it was at first.
Yeah. Yeah, how shitty it was. I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of working. This shit's a fucking clusterfuck. I think it almost took you it took you a full week to get me that, right?
Yeah, I think because I was doing the. I think I was just
And you
trying
didn't
to
want to
learn
show me
everything.
this. You're like, oh, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna keep making it perfect. I'm like, the hell you are. You're gonna fucking show me what you got. Or no matter how good it is when you hand it to me, I'm gonna throw it away. And that's the current model. That's the picture I took. And this is what you're gonna be doing next. Look at this.
Ooh, ooh.
This is gonna take a little bit of Once you get me a model, we're gonna have to work it out because I'll be honest, this is the closer proportion. So
Hmm.
this is kind of janky. It's kind of just there, but kind of bulbous. You know what I mean? This is gonna be very important. These skulls. This is gonna be very important, Brandon. Yeah, see this how this works?
Yeah.
That is extremely important. And how this canvas is over these little these are air balls
Hmm.
are this is draped over it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll just make the outside, then insert those
Yeah,
things
shove a
in
bunch
it.
of shit in there. But you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
balls. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't give me a cockpit, dude. We're gonna need a cockpit view. It's not important right away, but we're gonna need it. You'll do that
Right.
after you do the mother load. You know?
Hmm.
We'll model the cockpit. And then I think for the cutout, you don't have to actually worry about it. I can use this to kind of work out where shit would be. I think we'll be fine there. But I do want a 3D model cockpit. I think that'll be important. So, but I'll sketch that up probably even more based on this model. So I'm
Hmm.
using similar proportions. Well, there we go. Your first 3D model ever. Total time from learning Maya to getting this down about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, between 3 and 4 weeks between learning Maya and building your first model. Gotta be honest, Brandon, it's better than my first model.
Thank you.
And you could say, well, you had help from friends who knew shit. Well, I had an instructor in a whole school with people who knew shit. I didn't make a good model. If you really want to know, not what curved surfaces. All my shit was like, I'm a low poly guy. Like, I like Legos. All my shit's gonna be low poly. It's Final Fantasy VII or nothing for me. You
Right.
know?
Big square shoulders.
Yeah, I was more of the lighting and texture guy. I was like, my use of color will help. Don't make me model anything. you know. Uh, so. Nah, yeah, you did a good job. I'm very happy. I look forward to you building the second version that's animated, fully movable with working parts, and it's gonna be awesome. And you'll make it, and you'll like it. You'll make it like fly around and shit.
Hmm.
Like we'll have like landing, pulling in. And it's not gonna have landing gear. Like it docks in. All of the ships hover or they land in water. Either or. There's no like the big fins, the
Uh-huh.
Futurama fins. None of that shit. Cool, dude. All right, Brandon. So that was fun. So let's just get this right. So now you're gonna go and build a secret project, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then when you get done making that, you're gonna come back and build the mother load.
It's so secret, I just forgot, and then I remembered.
And you're gonna start that tonight, right?
Oh,
Because that
yeesh.
file's fucking crazy. You better start fit Brandon. 1 hour a night making CADs, right? Is all
Yeah.
you need. It doesn't take an hour to make one CAD, dude. Honestly. At the most, it should take you 15 minutes. At the most. Really, it's a 5 to 6 minute process, or three
I
minutes in my case.
I agree.
So you start working that out because you haven't even opened After Effects. You're gonna need tonight just to kind of go over that too.
Yeah.
So you need to get that figured out. I want to see an update on that Friday.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll start dilly dallying because you're gonna have a full week off, bro, in the 1st of April. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just settling into your new situation and everything else. So you need to get that start hard now, bro. It's the middle of the week. You know what I mean? That's tonight, Wednesday,
Correct.
Thursday. That's 3 nights, dude. You know, 3.5, including Friday night, to get that shit running. So get it going. But good job. And I can start doing my drawovers this weekend.
Yay.
But I can't do any of the scene art with this in it until you get the motherload done because it's mostly this versus the motherload. It's very important. I'll have to play around with the camera angles and shit. So, all right, as always, you can find me at sketchcraft.com. Sketchcraft, that's sketch, C-R-A-F-T, name of the vidcast.com. Brandon, where can we find you on the internet?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Lead Heavy.
All right, be sure to check out the other videos on the YouTube, yada yada. Thanks for hanging out. Goodbye.